Okay. So, I started out with listing her can-do descriptors concerning her access scores for the listening, speaking, reading, and writing. And then I incorporated the lesson plan that you provided me with. So it basically reads that you guys are reading that you were going to read The Little Red Ant, The Great Big Crumb. So you first discuss the events in the story. What did the students like? What did they dislike? And then you discuss the purpose of an opinion piece. And then you introduce the class to an opinion graphic organizer, which I listed in the paper. And then the students identified their opinion and restated the purpose of the story. Students were required to use writing prompts such as "I did not like the story because," and "I like the story because," in the box that says "My opinion." And then and then I put that students were asked in the boxes. There were 3 boxes under the title "My Reasons." So students were asked to refer to the events in the story that supported their opinions, and then they had to restate the key vocabulary prompts like "one reason is," "another reason is," and then "my final reason is." And then you handed them a blank sheet of paper, and then you talked about how to write on the paper, starting on the left margin and then writing until they ran out of room. And then they copied their opinion and reasons from the graphic organizer to write an opinion piece.
Yes.
Okay, so here I listed some of the lesson plan language objectives.
Okay.
And so the speaking was 5.7, so it goes through and talks about the different language objectives that I would hope to incorporate or that you hope to incorporate inside of your lesson plan.
Okay.
So students will be able to engage discussion, debate related to their opinion of the book, The Little Red Ant, The Great Big Crumb, etc. So I just listed the language objectives, and I found that on the blog Coloring Colorado. Have you heard of that
I have.
one? Oh, okay.
Very good one.
Okay, so I just went through and listed that one. And then the writing objectives, I just kind of like organized it, so for the purpose of the paper.
Yes.
Okay, and then my lesson plan modification, what I thought would be good, after assessing the reading level of The Little Red Ant, I thought it might be a little too difficult for her.
Yes.
So I decided to choose a level C reader, and I chose Mongo and Cutie.
Okay.
And it was a level C, like I said, it was from reading A to Z.
Okay.
And then I thought it would be a good idea to draw on her background knowledge. So, and again, you can correct me if you've got other ideas too.
That's the first thing we have to do.
Okay. So, the book I thought was good because it has a lot of like high frequency words.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's see. To build on her background knowledge, I thought we could ask her to name some things that she knows about dogs and cats. And then, like what could happen if a dog and a cat played together. And then maybe ask her to discuss a time where she was with someone and didn't get along with.
And that's excellent, Courtney, because that's a theme that's common to everybody. It's not culturally biased.
Okay.
Because we've all had situations where we all know that cats and dogs don't typically get along, and
Right.
we all have situations where we've had an argument with a friend. So that's a really good choice.
Let's see. So, and then you can create we could create the self connection or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I thought I would introduce her to the book, which I had. Well, like I said, I put it on here, and I don't know if that's correct to do that or even legal, but anyways, I cited it. But anyways, I thought I could show her the front and the back, even though I don't have the physical book. You can just kind of scroll through it or whatnot. Yeah. And then some guided reading practice. So to do a picture walk.
Yeah.
So we flip through the pages and look at the illustrations and ask different questions like, what do you see? And then to make predictions, like what do you think will happen next?
Yeah.
And then ask her to use some of the key vocabulary words that they were talking about, like from the book. I think the site actually lists certain vocabulary words that
yes.
I think some of them I have listed here, to and with, and then grandma, hide, lunch, nice, play, run. And so try to get her to incorporate those into any questions that I ask or you ask or whatever.
And a lot of times these words that you can predict once you know a child, you can predict what words they're going to have difficulty with, to go ahead and make flashcards with those words.
Okay.
And then after the book walk, let them practice those words so that when they come to them, you know. And then if you have to define anything, you can define it.
Okay, that's a good idea. Let's see, and then read the book together, of course, and then discuss her feelings, like orally about the book. Like, what did she like about the book? Why did she like that? Did she dislike it? And then discuss what an opinion piece is. So then let's see, for the opinion writing portion, I came up with like a new organizer. So that I showed you earlier.
Okay.
So instead of just having the boxes, I thought it would be good to have just go ahead and put the lines in the inside of the boxes. And then there's some picture cards of different like freeze frames from the story.
Yeah.
So I could, or you could, like cut them up, like pre-cut them, lay them on the desk, and then ask her to sequence the events.
Yes. Good.
Let's see. And then, of course, again, use the key vocabulary that we talked about just a minute ago to try to discuss the events in the story so that you can see that she understands how to use them. And, and then, again, like, I thought it would be neat if, for example, she chose certain events from the story that she liked that were actually the pictures.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. But then she could maybe paste them next to her reasons.
To trigger her memory.
Right. Mm-hmm. And then, like you mentioned, a good idea would be for her to draw it if actually she chose a reason that wasn't one of the pictures.
Right.
Okay.
That's great.
Okay. And then at the end, I made this other one, and I don't really know if, and I wanted to get your opinion on this.
Okay.
It's without the pictures. I didn't know if I should continue to use, if I should create another graphic organizer without the pictures, or if you thought that it would be appropriate to just go ahead and write it on a piece of paper. So I didn't know what your thoughts were about that, since you work hard, obviously, more with elementary students.
With her writing score as low as it is, I would even have her do this first graphic organizer, and then have her, read it to herself again, or you read it to her to see if it's, what she wants to say. Then you may take and scribe for her.
Oh, okay.
And then if her handwriting is good enough, in this case it is, she can, when you have it laid out the way it needs to be, she can copy it. Because it's probably something that we're going to display in the hallway.
Oh, okay.
So then she could copy it into her own handwriting.
Oh, okay.
Just to make sure she's rereading and make sure it's, ask her, does this sound right? Does it make sense?
Okay. So describe it, like on here, or just a regular piece of paper?
What they'll do for the display in the hallway is they'll use probably graphing paper or just notebook paper.
Oh, okay.
So once she's completed this graphic organizer, you don't really need to have her do it again.
Do another one.
I think the ones with the picture is better because that's where she's going to. It's going to remind her to use certain words.
Right, and it'll have the visual on there.
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great.
And then some of the assessment questions that I put was like, was Mary able to consistently ask and answer questions to understand the text? Could she accurately identify the sequence of events during discussion and on her graphic organizer? Was she able to sequence picture cards using the key vocabulary? And then, of course, was she able to use key phrases like one reason is, another reason, etc.? My final reason is, could she do that correctly? And then was she able to use it to rewrite it on the paper? So, could you think of anything else that might be?
I think that's good. Yeah, I think that's great.
Okay, and I think that that's it.
Okay.
So,
Good
do you
job.
have any other suggestions for modification?
No, aside from just keep being mindful of the reading and writing score. With
Okay.
her listening and speaking is proficient, so we just have to make sure that,
Yeah.
and then she can relate a lot of things to you verbally that she might not be able to write. So
Oh, okay.
that's
Yeah.
something, I think that's a really good lesson.
Okay, all right, I appreciate it. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna try to stop this,
Okay.
if it will. Maybe.